everybody. Welcome back to Masks of Nyarlathotep. This is lucky episode 13. Tonight we are joined, as usual, by Natalya, Thaddeus, and now Shelley, the new addition to the team. Where we left off, you guys were at Thaddeus's mansion, and as I recall, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Natalya had been kind of feverishly researching and making notes. And Thaddeus and Shelley were planning to go down to the Precinct and modify Thaddeus's statement, at least in theory, and maybe look in on this new person that was arrested in connection with the Elias case. Natalya chose to, has indicated that she would like to stay behind because she's really deep in note-taking and seems very distracted and not really all that interested in going down to the police station at this time. So does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay, and just to give us a little check-in, I have not marked off a Friday, but I'm going to do that. So we are now on Saturday, January 24th. Okay. So, anything to discuss before Thaddeus and Shelley head out?
I mean, because we were getting ready to, would Shelley have any questions about what we're going to do down there or anything?
I think we kind of went over that last time. Shelley is mostly interested in kind of catching up on what you guys know, but I think Natalya's got the notes, so she might have to do that in some downtime. Later on, she'll just go and see what's going on at the police station and try to get a feel with you on if this suspect is indeed the right suspect or if they're just being lazy.
All right. So yeah, so I don't think there'd be anything to discuss. More of a. I'm trying to remember if we cut off last time with heading out the door, or if it was just like a general statement that we're gonna be going. But yeah, there was nothing to discuss. Thaddeus would get himself ready and
Okay.
I guess inform Frank to get the car ready.
Yep. He will do that. And you can leave any time. Pardon my cough. I'm coming down with a little cold here. Okay.
So yeah, Thaddeus would get himself ready and go seek out Shelley. Go ahead.
Shelley's probably ready to go. She's very interested in all this that's been going on, so there's not much for her to do to get ready, so she'll just be waiting kind of eagerly in the office.
And Thaddeus will walk in the office. Well,
All right.
should we head on down to the police station?
Oh, yeah, yes, I'm ready. Good luck, Natalya, with your research. I'm very interested to hear about it later.
Natalya is still looking a bit. Some reason, she hasn't been in the bedroom for very long, but it's obvious she's been like running her hands through her hair. It's a bit scraggly for in the brief time that she's come out just to acknowledge you guys, saying that she's going to stay behind. She just nods rapidly. Yes, yes. Have a good time. I will try to get these thoughts ironed out. And then she kind of turns heel and quickly hurries back to her room, shutting the door and locking it.
Whatever new information she's got certainly has her.
Yes, and she seems pretty excited. Well, then Thaddeus will stick out his arm, in the hook fashion. Shall we go ahead and go?
Shelley gives a little smile and after just a moment's hesitation reach out and takes his arm. We shall. Let's go.
And with that, they'll head out towards the car.
Okay. Frank, of course, ushers you in to the back and takes you away. And you head down Harlem Way. And just before I forget, Slip, I gave you a little private notepad for yourself. You might notice in near your character sheet.
Oh, okay.
If you want to just keep some notes. Natalya's been doing that. And of course, you can also keep notes on anything that I have revealed to you as well. You can keep them contextually if you want to on any of the people or clippings or anything like that.
Oh, okay, thanks for telling me. I didn't notice that.
You are allowed to mark that up however you want. Okay, so we head down to the 14th Precinct. And it's about 5 o'clock when you get there. So it's there's been a recent shift change, so there's kind of a bit of activity going on there. And you do see Charlie sitting at his desk, and he rather quickly notes your presence. He seems to be working on something, but he kind of looks up and acknowledges you. And of course, the desk sergeant asks what your business is.
Oh, well, I'm here to talk to the detective that's working on the Jackson case, the Jackson Elias case. Apparently, they have another suspect or a new suspect.
He says, "Charlie, is someone here to talk to you?" And Charlie just kind of motions you back.
Thaddeus would gleefully start walking back towards there, knowing how the last encounter went.
Mm-hmm.
What's your body language as you're going toward him?
He's a little more upright. Letting it'd be obvious you looked at him. He knows he's rich and can throw his money in different ways, and so he's like more of a proud stance.
Okay.
Charlie puts up a finger, like, just a minute, and then he finishes writing something on some form, and then he stands up and puts his hand out to shake. And he says, "Mr. Pippin, a pleasure to see you again." And he looks at Shelley for a moment. He says, "You've brought a new face, I see."
Yes, this is my new friend, Shelley Rankin. Shelley, this is Detective Matson.
He kind of doffs his hat and says, "A pleasure to meet you, ma'am."
Oh, the pleasure's all mine.
You can see he's kind of a flirty kind of guy. He's already kind of made eyes at you when he doffs his hat. He does it in a very rakish kind of way.
Yes,
She
yes.
looks a little uncomfortable.
Yes, Detective Matson likes to turn on the charm. Natalia knows all about that.
I don't have to turn it on. It's always on. Just take a seat. Take a seat.
Thaddeus will kind of pull out a chair for Shelley and
She'll sit down, put her purse in her lap, and listen attentively to what comes next.
So Captain Robson said you were going to make a small amendment to your statement, which I've spent a better part of the afternoon writing up again, just with a small change. He didn't want to trouble you too much. He reaches over to a part of his desk and pulls out a couple pieces of paper and passes them over to you, and he said, "This is essentially the same statement you made before, just with that small amendment." And he kind of glances through and points to the part that he changed. You can see he wrote the whole thing up again all over, like it's a new document, and it's backdated to the date you made your original statement.
Thaddeus will look at the document and look over at the detective.
Okay. You can make an intelligence check for me.
All right. Let's see how bad I fail my intelligence check.
Or you can do English if you prefer.
Yeah,
Ooh,
well,
look at that.
I'm all good.
Yeah, it's essentially the same statement. You notice he's changed a few small things. Your statement now sounds a little less certain in a lot of areas. He's definitely changed the part he told you that he had, where it says, that you caught a brief glimpse of somebody heading out the fire escape. It doesn't mention any details about the person, just that you got a brief glimpse. But there are other parts too that basically that are subtle. It's a subtle rewrite. You're not sure it's really all that harmful, but it's you do notice, like, I didn't say it exactly that way.
So Thaddeus had to look at the document with detective. I see there's a few changes. A little more than...
Yeah, he looks like momentarily a little irritated, but he just says, I just I tidied it up just a little bit, just so it reads easier.
Oh, so that way it sounds the way you want it to sound? Is that what I'm getting the gist of?
No, I'm just trying to make it easy on the court.
So, he's gonna look at the document again and look back up the detective. Tell me, detective, how confident are you that the new one that you have in custody now is involved in this, and that the rewrite my statement is there? I mean,
Well, we have an associate of his who's basically pointed him out.
oh,
He's fingered him. He's going to testify.
and was
He's still denying that he had anything to do with it, but I'm sure he's just scared. He knows what's probably going to happen.
so this witness, was he at the scene of the crime as well? I mean, I'm
No, he wasn't there. He wasn't directly involved, but he knows his friend left at the same time to go downtown and came back, and he said he had blood on his hands, and said he had to take care of some white guy.
take care of some white guy. Is that correct?
I think that was his words, yes.
So if he was taking care of the white guy, what would they have to do with the murder of Jackson Elias?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say white guy? He looks in his. Oh yeah. No, it's the black man at the hotel. Jackson.
Oh, that's a. Yeah, he's gonna.
He says, "I got the statement right here. If you want to see it." He goes. He opens a folder and pulls it out and passes it over to you.
Thaddeus will glance at it.
You can do another intelligence roll.
Shelley is going to try to lean over and read along with.
He would make it easy for Shelley to look at it if need be.
Okay. Yeah, you can. Thaddeus, why don't you make an intelligence roll with a bonus die, because Shelley's giving you a second pair of eyes. Ah, extreme. Well, interestingly, the statement is typed up just like yours. It is signed at the bottom. The thing you notice is that the wording of the statement is very similar to the wording of the rewrites of your statement. Just the way that the language used, the turns of phrases, it's subtle, but you got an extreme success. You notice that you're picking out that you're fairly certain that Matson wrote the statement.
Okay, and he's gonna look up and look at Matt. I see you wrote this statement as well from the wording and the style of the writing.
Yeah, we interviewed the witness. I wrote the statement, gave the witness the statement, he signed it.
And Thaddeus is gonna look at the signature to see if he recognizes the name.
The name is Jackson Wallace.
So this Jackson Wallace, because everything lined up and it went from white man to black man.
Well, you can see in the statement he said black man. I was thinking of another case.
Ah.
That's my fault. And the statement does say he had to go take care of a brother.
Okay.
This Mr. Wallace must be a man of great integrity for him to feel impelled to come forward and give you this information on his friend. What did he say? Why he felt that he needed to do this? What the circumstances?
So he and his other associates have all been claiming that they've taken a special interest in stopping these murders and have been patrolling the streets at night. So, yeah.
His associates?
Yeah. He's got two other associates.
Oh.
Adams was also claimed to be part of their little gang.
So these... And his friend was probably part of the gang too, then?
Yeah.
And it just happens that a member of their gang happens to be the one committing the murders that they're investigating. What a coincidence.
I don't think it's a coincidence at all. I think they were using that as cover. Adams did it, and I think Johnson was his accomplice. It just took us a little longer to catch on that it wasn't just Adams. Adams swore up and down that it was just him. He was the only one. We had our suspicions about the other four, but with Adams' confession testimony, we let him off. Now it turns out maybe we shouldn't have taken Adams' word for it.
Yes, now that you kind of troublesome to question Adams, right?
I'm sorry?
I said I guess it would be kind of troublesome to question Adams about more of his friends being involved.
What would be the point? he already lied about it to protect his accomplice, no doubt.
I'm still just kind of at a loss, Detective. I mean, tell me what you think. Tell me if this is something that you think is a slam dunk, or tell me if you think this is something that's being swept.
A slam dunk. Well, nothing's a slam dunk. It's going to be up to a jury to decide. That's how our system works. But I think we're going to have a pretty strong case.
Well, I think what I'm more inquiring is, as a detective, do you think this is the correct people? The people that are involved is the ones that you're pegging, or I mean, is there?
If I didn't, I wouldn't have arrested him.
What did they say the motive was?
Well, him and his gang all served in World War I. I think they got a taste for blood over there. Sorry, he wouldn't say World War I. That's me. The Great War. They served in the Great War. I think they got a taste for it. And believe me, we're going to be keeping our eyes on the other three.
Would you mind if we talked to the one that was kind of inquisitive of why he suck out my friend and to kill him?
I'm sure that would give you a lot of peace of mind just to confront the man that supposedly attacked your...
Oh, Shelley.
Well, I'm more inquisitive.
Shelley, why don't you make a persuade check for me? That was an interesting angle. He looks a little uncomfortable by the suggestion. He says, well, I'm not personally authorized to let you talk to him, but I could go check with the captain and see if he'll allow it.
Yes. And please let me know if the captain does have an issue, so that way I can talk to him myself.
Sure. He gets up and goes back to what's obviously the captain's office. You can see him sort of talking to this guy. And when he, after a few seconds, the captain kind of looks out into the room at you two guys and kind of says something, and then he gets up from his desk and the two of them come back. By the time he gets to the desk, he's got a nice big smile on his face. And he puts his hand out to shake your hand, Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, of course,
says,
stand up to shake it.
Thaddeus Peppett, a pleasure to finally meet you. I'm Captain Robson.
Captain is.
What can I do for you?
Well, as you know, that the murder involved one of my
And he
friends.
just kind of nods at Shelley, this sort of acknowledgement.
Yeah, she just nods very meekly, but...
As you would know, my friend was murdered. And supposedly now you got one of his suspects, and I was kind of hoping to talk to him to kind of see his take on things.
Yes. Charlie tried to explain that to me, and I'm really not quite understanding what the purpose of such an interview would be.
Well, of course it'd be for my closure and to understand more why my friend died a senseless death.
And the captain says, wow, I hate to burst your bubble, Mr. Pepin, but I don't think he's going to probably have much to say to you. He hasn't, he's being very reticent right now, not admitting anything. He's as likely just to brush you off. I don't think you'll get any real information out of him.
And that is
Well,
kind
if that's the case, that certainly couldn't hurt anything to try.
He kind of eyes you as if he's really taking note of you for the first time, Shelley. And you see his eyes kind of narrow a little bit. And he
She
says,
just
and
smiles sweetly at him.
he says, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
I'm Shelley Frank, and I'm a friend of Mr. Pepin. And she'll reach out and kind of hook her arm through his.
He says, I see. He says, well, dangerous man like that is certainly not someone you'd want to meet, ma'am. And Mr. Pepin, I'd rather think it's maybe a little unseemly. But if you insist, and if this will put your mind at rest, so that you can have, as Mr. Matson indicated, you'd like closure, I think he said. I suppose a few minutes with the accused would be all right.
Yes, that would be very much greatly appreciated. Of course, even if he
says
does...
it maybe a few minutes. We have to get a room available for you, and I'll have to detail someone. We're a little busy right now, but if you're willing to wait, or you could come back on Monday if you'd rather.
Thaddeus will reach in his pocket and pull out his pocket watch, click it open. No, I don't think I have anything else planned for today. I shall wait. Click it shut and put it back in his pocket.
He smiles. As you wish. He says, Charlie, make the arrangements if you'd be so kind. And he says, yes, sir. And he says, well, you two have a seat. You want some coffee?
I thought you'd never ask. That'd be lovely.
Yes.
Sure.
Coffee would be
It's
good right now.
not as good as the diner across the street, but well, we'll see if you can get it down. And he goes over and pours you a cup and comes back. You notice it's his own cup he took over there, and he just sort of poured the coffee out and poured a new one in and brought it back to the desk. Put it down in front of you. And he says, well, I'll go take care of that matter for you. I'll come back when it's all set.
That'd be very much appreciated. Thank you.
And he goes back, disappears back into the back somewhere. The containment cells, clearly. Yes. Do you drink your nice coffee?
Shelley does not.
Okay. So do you just sit there and wait for a while?
Yeah. We'll sit there and have some small talk as detective goes.
Okay.
So he had made some adjustments to your statement. Hadn't seen the original, so I wouldn't know.
Yes, it more sounds like now that the statement is not as certain as everything, but I have yet to sign it. I would like to talk to the prisoner first. There's a lot of coincidences going on, I think, and I'm not sure that they actually have the right guy.
If they hadn't brought up this possibility of it being a black man, would that have been an uncertainty in your mind? What do you really remember?
I don't remember much. My brain likes to block some of it out, but the glimpses I've seen as the guy came running out the room to attack us, and I could never be too certain. It may not have been anything I say about race of one or the other, but I mean, what I thought I saw, and then what Benjamin said he saw, it kind of pieces together a little bit. So I do feel that while I'm a little uncertain, I do feel like maybe it is the guy was the wrong race that they have now. But I can't 100% be sure about it.
Well, I suppose it's better that your statement say you're not sure if you aren't.
Oh, no, that is for sure. And then, of course, that the court would be convening, I guess you would say, while we are gone. So, and when I told the police commissioner about the us leaving, it I said we should be in the Mid Atlantic at the time, which we will clearly be not. But what they don't know what we're doing.
Well, hopefully seeing this man will maybe trigger a memory for you, one way or the other.
Oh, I dear hope not. It's something that a lot of whiskey have taken to help me hide. It's not
Oh,
so
oh,
great of a sight as you shoot people.
of course, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. I'm sure it's not something you care to remember. But if a man's life hangs in the balance, I'm sure you want to be sure that it's the right one.
Oh yes, that is for sure. And especially since Natalya, we almost lost Natalya to the attack, and there to be that'd have been quite awful if that would have happened. I don't know what I'd do with myself.
Okay, you have to wait a little while, but Lieutenant Matson does come back, and he says, you're still here. All right, well, we've arranged an interview room for you. If you'll follow me.
And Thaddeus will stand up and start following them, and look
Okay.
back at Shelley, see if she's following.
Yeah, she's gotten up and straightening her skirts, getting ready to fall.
The lieutenant says, are you sure you want to come in there, miss? It's not generally something ladies do.
Oh, I want to face the man who's caused my friend so much pain.
Suit yourself. And he takes you back into an area where there are barred doors to get in, and there's a police officer there, kind of a beat cop, who kind of now escorts you and takes you to a small room, and he says that the cop says the prisoner's chained, so he shouldn't be any trouble, but if he gives you any trouble, just call out. I'll be right outside the door.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Violent people.
And Charlie just says to the cop, just come and get me when they're done. And leaves. And he opens the door for you. And you can see a man sitting behind a table on a chair. He is manacled, wrists and ankles, to the table. And there are a couple of pretty lousy wooden chairs sitting opposite him on the other side of the table. The room has a very stark, sort of bleak look to it.
Thaddeus would stick his head in and kind of look around and see. Oh, hello. Kind of like nervously walk in a little bit.
The guy looks up at you. He has kind of a sullen look about him. And you say hello, and he just sort of he makes a face, um, and then just kind of stares straight ahead.
And Shelley's going to have her analytical mode on, and as she comes in and she sits in the chair, she's really not thinking about anything other than appraising his physical condition. Does he look like he's been beaten or physically, abused by the police?
He does have a kind of a bruise on the side of his face. It's not a big one, um, and a scab kind of on the other side. It looks like he probably has been in a tussle recently, but it doesn't look bad.
Right, he hasn't really had a beating.
Yeah, he has not. He has not been beaten badly.
Is he a large person?
Um, Not particularly. He looks reasonably muscular, but he's also wearing stripes. So they're baggy, and it's a little hard to tell exactly how muscular he is. But he does not look like an overweight man, and he's not terribly thin. Your impression is he's probably in good shape.
Okay.
So Thaddeus, stare straight ahead. He's kind of nervously make it to a chair. Look at the man, hold out his hand. I'm Thaddeus Pepin. I hope you, hope you're doing well considering the
That's supposed to
circumstance.
mean something to me.
Well, it's an introduction. I mean, I just feel that me and you should get to know each other for a brief moment that we have right now. And he looks over at without the detectives around and stuff.
He's looks between you and Shelley, and you can see he has no idea what's going on, and he has a kind of cautious sort of look about him.
So there's no officers in this room, right?
No, he closed the door behind you when you went in.
So Thaddeus, not being having his hand shaken, except that he'll go ahead and sit down. But
He couldn't really shake your hand if he wanted to. His hands are manacled to the table. There's like a ring on the table, and the chain has been put through it.
gotcha.
So he's pretty securely in place.
So Thaddeus, just take a seat.
So you don't recognize my friend?
Why would I recognize him?
Well, because according to the statement that the police have, is that you were at the same place I was at the time of my friend's murder.
Yeah. Well, that explains it then.
Well, that explains what.
Why I don't know you.
Well, see, that's quite a conundrum, see, because I expect anybody who's in trouble to say the same thing, But
Yeah, I don't really give a fuck what you think.
you might, if you would care to hear me out. And I don't think that even if you were involved, I don't think you acted alone. But most importantly, that there's a possibility that you weren't involved.
Really, why do you say that?
Well, let's just say, and he's gonna kind of look at the ceiling a little bit. But a friend who was murdered, and that having a friend murdered, you'd kind of want to know as much about it as possible. And from our experiences together, me and my friend, who is no longer with us, we've seen some weird things, and he was doing his own little investigation, and that may be how and why he was killed.
Okay.
And so, unless you're kind of tied into that, and then obviously you wouldn't have any idea, and would make you an innocent man. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Look, I didn't kill anybody. I don't even know your friend. I never even heard the name until they charged me.
Well,
So I don't really have much to say. Except
perhaps,
I can see where this is going. They
perhaps,
did the same thing to Adams. They're going to do it to me. They'll probably go after... Yeah, whatever.
So, are you implying that your friend testified against you or accused you to avoid being accused himself?
He just smiles and says, yeah, you folks don't really get it. If they're going to get you, they're going to get you. Jackie just did what any smart guy would do. I don't blame him.
Mm-hmm. Would you mind telling us about your friends and what you did together?
What we did together? What do you mean?
Well, the detective implied that, I don't know, that maybe you all served together and you were all involved in some sort of criminal
Yeah,
activity together.
a lot of good that did us, huh? Serve our country, fight for the white man. This is what we get.
well, perhaps you could enlighten us. And so you say your friend only said it was you to avoid being in the same shoes that you're in now? Is that what you're saying?
Well, since none of us did anything except actually try to keep the neighborhood safe, you know, we went out night after night putting our lives at risk, working jobs during the day, and then going out at night saying goodbye to our wives and girlfriends, risking our lives to stop whatever is going on, whatever crazy person is killing these people. Yeah, how did I end up here? How did Adams end up on death row? None of it makes any sense. But they're going to get who they get.
Well, I'd agree that sometimes that sort of thing happens, that sometimes injustice happens, but Mr. Pepin here has yet to sign his statement. He wanted to talk to you first.
Yes, and since you mentioned Adams, perhaps you can enlighten us on your friend. Like you guys went on the streets to patrol and everything, and you may have some idea of the actual events, the actual murders and stuff, like thoughts and ideas of who you think was involved.
He just shakes his head. He said, we never did catch anybody. I don't even know if us marching around made any difference. But maybe it saved a life or two. I don't know.
And so you weren't in that area the night his friend was killed?
What area?
I don't know, Thaddeus.
The hotel where the murder took place.
The hell would I be doing at a hotel?
So then perhaps you could tell us where you were that night?
No, I can't.
And why couldn't you? I mean, it seems to be a crucial hinge, a point of when they could prove your innocence and guilt. Is that not correct? I mean,
All I'm gonna say is I was with somebody. Doesn't matter who.
But I think it would matter who. That I guess that you weren't at the hotel, and then I got found the real killer's
It
gonna have.
wasn't at the hotel.
But yes, but
What?
no one's ever gonna take just your word for it. They need more witnesses to say that you were with them at this place.
Well, the person I was with can't testify, so
Is this a female person?
I said I don't want to talk about it.
Well, this is... There's no officers in this room. It's just us. And anything we say that you said, that's... What do they call that? That's hearsay?
He shrugs his shoulder. I don't know, maybe.
So, I don't think you have to worry about the person you're protecting. Anything you tell us will be kept very discreet.
No, it won't. It'll come out in court. It'll all come out in court.
And you
If-
think that this person that you were with would rather see you dead?
I know I'd never do that to this person.
Well,
So
let me say this:
let's just leave it at that.
if this person can pet you at certain places, you wouldn't even have to go to court. You do realize that, right?
No, I don't realize that.
So
I told them I was with somebody, and they said if they got a statement from me, then that might help my case.
well, I mean, yes, because they had to look at the statement, and then when they see the statement, right, they may not have to charge you because with that statement, with someone else's testimony that you can pet you at a place other than a hotel, and maybe some other people that may have saw you somewhere else, it's going to prove your innocence, which means they want to take it to court.
Doesn't matter. I can't do anything about it.
Well, no, you can't, but your friend can. And rest assured that
No.
I am looking to talk to your friend Adams too as well. I mean, hopefully he'll have more information than what you have provided, but at the same time, I'd rather not see two innocent people.
Look, he kind of leans over and he says, "Do not get her involved in this. Do you understand me?"
Well, if you don't want us to get her involved, but I would like to know more about what you weren't, that you weren't there, and I could also provide for a good attorney to represent you and not use her testimony, obviously, because you don't want her to know. Maybe it's for her safety or not, I don't know, but the only thing I would like to do is talk to them, and of course, once I talk to Adams, I'd be able to put my own two things together. But in the meantime, if they...
Make a persuade check with a penalty die.
Oh man, I just dropped stuff. Alright.
That's not a good sign.
Never is. It never goes good. Oh.
You can't drop your dice. Yeah.
Can I push it?
Sure.
I mean, bad things that can happen. I don't think would deter.
Ooh. He gets very antsy when you start saying that. And he said, "I told you." And he just kind of looks down at his feet.
Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything we have to furnish to the police officers. If we could get you out of the trouble and you're not the one who did it, then I of course do not want you to have to go through the crux of going to court. If you catch my drift, because that deters from the real criminals that are out there.
And this is a noble instinct, but... And I know you think you're helping her, protecting her, but I can't imagine how she would feel if she's someone who cares about you. This would haunt her for the rest of her life. Don't you think you should let her decide if she wants to involve herself? Doesn't she have that right?
He says, I'm not going to let her ruin her life for me. But he looks at you, Thaddeus, and you can see his kind of demeanor has changed a little. His face is softened a little. And he kind of looks almost pleading in your estimation now, which is very different than just a minute ago. And he says, are you really going to get me an attorney?
Well, if your story checks out and everything and aids me, I could do more than get you an attorney. I could use my name to make people second guess what they're about to do in a way. As with the prosecutors and the cops involved.
He says, do you have a piece of paper with you and maybe something to write with?
Oh, Shelley always does.
Mm-hmm. All right. He takes that and writes down something and folds it and passes it back to Thaddeus. And he says, when you see her, tell her I'm okay. Tell her not to do anything stupid.
Yes, this I could do. And is there anything I could tell Mr. Adams if I ever do get the chance to speak with him that would make him open up faster than what you did, maybe?
He looks kind of sort of into space for a minute, like he's thinking, and there's kind of a sad look that passes over his face, and he says, just tell him I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't have the courage I needed.
Yes. I could tell him that. Hopefully that he will see that as a sign that I'm there to help him. And
there's a knock on the door, and the door opens, and the cop says, time's up. I'm afraid we're going to have to bring this little discussion to a close. He needs to get back in his cell.
Yes. Back to his cell. The ass is going to reach over and put his hand on top of the prisoner's hand. Rest assured.
You can see the cop kind of start for a moment when you do that, but he doesn't do anything. But he seems like momentarily alarmed that you're doing that.
Rest assured, I will have my best look into it for you.
Shelley tries to slide her notebook inconspicuously back into her handbag.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why don't you make a sleight of hand with, I'll even give you 2 bonus dice on that.
Okay.
There you go. Success. And you can check that off. Yes, you do a very smooth little move. The cop's attention is really on Thaddeus's gesture. He seems concerned about that, and you're certain he didn't even notice you slip the notebook back. So the cop kind of stands with the door, like gesture, waiting for you two to vacate.
Yeah, like a Shelley. That seems to be kind of productive today. He looks at the officer.
And you see Lieutenant Matson standing outside the door.
Detective Matson. He has.
Says, I trust you, you're satisfied?
Well,
Did he say anything incriminating to you?
not
Was he helpful to
incriminating.
the case?
No,
And he's walking back out to the main area again, with you in tow, assuming you're behind him.
yeah, he's gonna be. He in fact, does quite the opposite. He seems to think that he's being railroaded.
Really?
Yes.
That's what he's been singing since we brought him in. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
And you haven't thought to maybe figured out if he maybe is getting railroaded? Might be innocent?
As I said, we have a witness, and it's hardly a coincidence that he's associated with Adams.
Yes.
It's the picture's pretty clear.
That's a name that keeps getting thrown a lot around about. Perhaps you could tell me who the prosecutor will be that's going to be trying to prosecute this case?
We don't know yet. This is all fresh still. We haven't even. We're still working with the district attorney on that to figure out who and when and all of those details. It's a little early for that.
That is most excellent. I shall be getting a hold of the district attorney. Well, thank you, detective. And he's gonna reach out his hand to shake.
He he takes your hand. Seems a little confused, but he shakes your hand and says, "All right, I do need you to sign that statement before you go." I noticed you never did sign it.
Yes.
And he gets a pen out and puts it in front of you.
As far as the statement goes, it's not going anywhere, right? It's gonna be right here, so I could come back tomorrow or the next day to sign it. Is that correct?
Well, you're right here. I'd hate for you to have to come in again.
Oh, well, it would be no bother of mine, as I'd sometimes have a lot of free time on my hands. But I'd like to make sure of some things before I come back and sign it. You know, contracts and all kind of make me nervous.
It's not a contract. It's just a statement that you've already made with just a couple of minor adjustments. I don't really see why you're hesitant to sign it now. Is there a reason that I should know?
Well, I mean, I would just like to make sure of a few things before I condemn a man to go to court and, possibly get in trouble. It's a conscience thing. I don't know.
I see.
I
Well, I hope you'll sleep on it then and come to the conclusion that you need to do the right thing here. We're trying to get a murderer off the street.
Yes, that is exactly what I'm trying to do, detective. And I kind of look at him. I have no doubt that if something arises that can change all this, you'd be the one to want to go and look at that to make sure justice is served.
Of course.
Yeah, that's excellent. He'll look around. Maybe there is one less dirty cop in the world than I would expect. I don't know. Wink
Won't
at
find
him.
any dirty cops in this precinct. He just kind of smiles.
I should hope that statement holds true. I mean, it'd be a shame for good cops to.
You can take it from me.
No doubt that you're a good cop, and it'd be a shame if you missed bad cops around.
He says, I'll see you to the door. And he gets up and kind of walks you out.
I do appreciate it. I'll look over at Shelley.
Shelley will stand up and take his arm. That's good to meet you, Detective Matson. I'm sure you can appreciate that Mr. Pepin has to be careful with his good name.
Pleasure to meet you, miss. And he doffs his hat. He's not doing any flirtatiousness this right now. He seems kind of very serious at the moment, and just opens the door for you and closes it when you're through.
So as they get out and start making their way towards Frank, Thaddeus will look over at Shelley, and I guess it's when we get inside the car, we should take a look to see what he wrote down. That may be our next step. Maybe we'll stop and see if Natalya cares to join us.
I think we should. That certainly sounds like there's more to this than the officers were making it sound like.
Yes, I do feel that there's quite a mix of people involved, including higher elite people, But who knows? We'll have to find out before we end up leaving on the ship or dying first, whatever one comes first.
She gives a little smile to that, kind of a... not sure whether that's funny or not.
You got to have a little chuckle every once in a while.
I suppose. Oh, there's Frank with the car.
Yep. All right. Frank gets you back in the car.
Shelley will
Excuse me.
reach into her purse and pull out the notebook and flip to the page with the unfamiliar writing.
And while she's doing that, Thaddeus will look up to Frank and try. Would you mind taking us to the deli, Frank?
Oh, not at all. He
Excellent.
takes you to the deli.
Would you mind going and get us some of these delicious sandwiches they have here? I believe you know what my favorite is.
Of course.
Yeah, so Frank gonna get it. He's gonna look at Shelley.
Okay. Yep. So Shelley, the name, there is a woman's name and an address in Upper Manhattan.
Upper Manhattan, okay. Well, this looks like maybe that person he was telling us that he was trying to protect.
Oh, and what is the name?
Rebecca Shosenburg.
Do you
Yeah.
happen to recognize the name?
He's gonna. his eyes are gonna get a little wide. I just so happen to recognize the name.
Considering the address, I thought there was a possibility.
It's not because of the address, it's because of the circumstances.
Oh?
Yes. See, she was, how can I put it, at my friend's funeral, hoping to get statements and stuff, and then I invited her to the house to talk to her, and that's when she informed me about this Adams guy being arrested for the murders of other people, like my friend was.
Oh, so it sounds like she is trying to help, in her own way.
Indeed, there's maybe a little bit more personally involved than she originally let on. Well, since that's the case, we should definitely have to stop by and get Natalya. I'm sure this is gonna be a long night.
Do you happen to have her contact information other than the address, since she had spoken to you?
Well, I'm sure an operator can connect us directly, but I'd rather show up with the address, because if we couldn't get a hold of her and I left her a message at her office, then have not heard back.
Oh, I see. Well, perhaps stopping in without warning might be the best course of action then.
Yes. Everybody likes surprises.
Well, I don't know about that, but perhaps
Nope.
it'll work to our advantage.
Yeah, we shall see.
Frank comes back with your sandwiches.
Thank you, Frank. You could take us home now. We have to go and
Okay.
coerce Natalya to leave her studies and come with us.
All right. You return back, and when you arrive, Natalya is still doing her stuff, and your butler informs you that you missed a phone call while you were out from a Ms. Shosenburg.
Excellent.
She left you a phone number to call her if you wanted to
Well,
return her call, sir.
I do appreciate it.
All right. Why don't we take a quick bio break? Since Slip needs to slip away.
Should have a cartoon GIF playing for the mission.
Oh man. Just sassing the police.
You know that's how I
Sassing
roll.
the police. Oh no.
Dirty cops everywhere, I'm sure.
They're all dirty.
Mm-hmm.
They're awful.
But maybe we'll find the real killer before he kills us, or makes us flee into the warm embrace of Europe.
The rainy embrace of Europe. Oh boy.
This stuff better have been important. You must have humdinger at the
I know. Oh, it was important.
debating how Thaddeus is gonna tell you to come with him.
Mm-hmm. She's in the middle of research.
So Rebecca Shosenburg, is she?
She's a journalist for
She's
the
a
Times.
journalist. Okay, so that was her reason for all her contact with you that she gave.
Yep. Investigating the murder, trying to get her friend off of the throw, apparently.
And white, I'm assuming. I can't imagine there was a black
White.
female journalist.
Yep.
Very
gonna be-
white.
This could be quite the scandal.
Oh yeah. It probably actually is pretty dangerous for her. I mean, she'd get lynched.
Oh, don't worry, I got this. Natalya definitely has to come. Convince her.
Natalya, will you kind of aggressively, nicely convince her to talk to her?
It's okay, I haven't punched anyone in a very long time.
You're gonna punch her.
Man, my punching skill is fucking insane.
So your friend who loves you and is trying to protect you sent us to talk to you.
We've come to rough you up. My brawl is 90.
Oh my gosh.
Natalya's a fucking powerhouse.
You're like we're a circus performer.
Unless she beats a machete. Then she
Oh, fucking, yeah, machetes, guns, guys who choke you. No, she's... Knives, just knives are not good, man.
So what's the backstory on all your skills?
So, I originally rolled, I rolled very high, for strength, just in general. So, Natalya, just in general, she studies, psychology and stuff. But usually in the mornings, she gets up early, at 5, and she'll do, a workout routine. She practices just fitness in general. doesn't want to be caught, in an alleyway in Russia alone. Or punch a hoe. You know, sometimes you just gotta punch a bitch.
Punch a bit.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm back, and pardon my brie and crackers crunching.
That sounds good.
It is good.
We're resuming the episode.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, that's what's going on.
Alright, so after talking to the butler, Thaddeus kind of excitedly is gonna rush in to his house and beeline right for Natalya's quarters.
Okay.
And as he gets to the door, not even thinking about it, he just kind of opens it.
It's locked at the moment.
Oh, okay, cool. You hear
There's a key and open.
so you would hear a bunch of door handle jiggling, and then a few knocks.
One moment, and behind the door you hear footsteps, kind of walking back and forth. You might be able to hear paper shuffling and whatnot. And you hear feet coming to the door, pausing for a moment, and then you hear the door unlock, and you see Natalya. Her hair's a little bit cleaner than before, and she looks at you fairly wide-eyed, and yes, that is, how can I help you?
You have to get dressed. We have to go.
I am dressed, but why?
He looks kind of like excitedly. We have to go. We have to go see Miss Shosenburg. It seems like that we might have a link to everything here now.
And she looks back. The room seems there's some papers that are messily piled and like a little stack there. She's got her notebook in one hand with a pencil in the other, and just looks at you kind of confused. Why can you and Shelley do this?
Well, I figure since we might be getting somewhere that you might want to come see in an off chance that there's some hiding of personal relationships, you might be able to convince her to be more forth with her responses. It seems like the prisoner that they have is connected to Miss Solzenberg, and he did not want to share the details behind it. So there might be more meat for us to chew on than what is apparent.
Are you implying that Miss Shosenburg had a relationship with the gentleman you spoke to?
Well, as much as he wanted to protect her, it wouldn't be out of this world for that to happen. Because if she can prove his innocence, he would have said so from the get-go, but obviously he's afraid of something harming her.
And Natalya looks down slightly, and there's this look of understanding that goes across her face, and she nods. Well, if it is that type of relationship, and she looks back up to Thaddeus. I guess I can join. I do have some new findings that I think are very interesting. Maybe I could share at least some on the way.
Yes. I am interested to know what you've been... And he kind of looks around the room a little bit. Been doing, and... Yes, I'm very interested.
Yes, just give me one moment, please, and she'll rush back into the room and take the piles of papers, sorting them out, and she puts a number of papers back into the original manila folder that they came in, and some of the notes that you'd recognize, the ones from Elias, the ones from, what was it? From Kensington, the ones from Jonah. She grabs those, putting them on top of the manila folder, and bringing them back out. Is there any way I can maybe put these just in case? I don't want Svetlana getting into them.
Yes, I do have a safe. Follow
Perfect.
me.
Thank you.
And you kind of hurriedly walk down the hallway to his bedroom and open a door. and it and it looks very much untouched. In fact, there's like a layer of dust on the bed and everything.
Do you have any etchings to show her? Would you like to see my etchings?
There's where I keep my suits. You don't want to see those.
I see them on you all the time.
Yeah, you look down. Maybe. And lets out a little chuckle and goes to a picture on the wall of a young hairy self and moves it aside.
Young Harry, so.
And he'll look back to see if Natalya is paying attention.
Yeah, she's watching. She's actually looking around the room, and she's got the notes in hand with her notebook underneath, and she's just looking around, kind of fascinated. Oh, it definitely looks like it is not seen a person in a while.
Yes,
Very neat.
it's been a little bit since I've been in here. The study has been my home lately. And not even thinking about the lie he told about him sleeping in the bed the other day.
Yeah, she'll look back at him with that and raise an eyebrow. I did think that you told me that you laid in the bed the other night.
Well, he's got a staff that cleans everything. Every
With
day.
dust.
You see them going around cleaning everything, so. You're sure they tidy up his bed if he sleeps in it.
Yeah, that's why I assume there's a layer of dust.
Oh, no. Unless you forbid them from entering your room, there's no dust.
He kind of it's kind of been like almost the same since that one night that he lost everybody. And he'll open it up and look back at Natalya. Here, you go ahead and place it here. There's just some old photos and stuff that I keep in here.
Perfect. And she'll take the notes, mostly just the manila folder, and she'll put that one in. She'll keep the notes that they received from others out of the safe, and she'll keep her notebook with her. And then she'll put the manila folder in and withdraw.
Natalya, make a spot hidden with a penalty die.
Okay.
Oh,
Oof.
Nope. Okay. No problem. You're just totally focused on getting them in there, and you barely even look in the safe. You kind of put the stuff in there. You're talking to Thaddeus while you do it.
Mm.
Okay.
and then
Continue.
Thaddeus would go ahead and close the safe and turn and dial the lock and move the picture back in front of it. Yes, we could get those when we come back.
Perfect. Hopefully this won't take too long. There's some other things that I'd like to go over, but yes, let's meet Miss Shosenburg again.
Okay. So you go downtown to the address.
Yes, I guess.
Anything you want to discuss on the way? You said maybe you want.
Yes. Natalya still has her notebook with her, and she'll take it out, flipping through some of the pages. There's just writing and just pages and pages, and majority of the book is filled. And you see a lot of it's been dated, a lot of it's fairly neat writing, until she gets to the last page that has writing on it. And that is more scribbles, and that's written down, some fast jotted notes and whatnot. She keeps the notebook in front of her, not really letting them see too much of it, and kind of reads over it. Well, some of the things that I found out so far. Um, everything's a bit more organized, slightly in her eyes. Go over the page, flipping it over, looking at more notes, and flipping it back. The bloody tongue, the cult that is in Africa, yes. I think talking about this before.
The people who make that sign, that's the connection to them, that sign we found in the snow.
I'm not exactly sure. There's no clarification if that is the sign they use or not, but there is a connection. I think. Again, she kind of pauses and thinks about how to say this. Definitely like she's self-editing as she talks.
Alice is kind of sitting wide-eyed, waiting.
And she sighs a bit. I am going to do something that is most likely correctly against my practice and exactly what I believe in. Also, if anybody else finds out about what I'm about to tell you, I could be in a lot of trouble for this. Legally and morally.
Well, kind of look over at Shelley and look back at Natalya. I do believe that, as far as the legalities are concerned, that we've all witnessed each other do stuff that would kind of mystify those authorities. So that's good.
Well, the meeting that I had with Miss Carlyle, it was to get a number of notes, and you see Natalya is very uncomfortable talking about this. And the notes that she gave me, the folder, it was extremely confidential information regarding Roger Carlyle and his meetings with Dr. Huston.
Oh,
Who is that? Was that her husband?
No, Roger Carlyle was her brother. The Carlyle expedition, number of years ago, that went out. They went to Egypt and then Kenya. And then they were massacred. Which is the reason why Miss Carlyle has gotten the estate.
Oh, I think I remember something about that, but no detail.
As I can explain further later. I've written down some articles of newspaper clippings that you can read over as well. Anyway, these notes contained exactly what Roger was going through and why he went to Dr. Huston in the first place, and the reason why they went to Egypt and then Kenya, and the reason why is even since childhood he experienced dreams. Dreams of someone calling out to him. A very dark-skinned, gaunt individual. And he always had to navigate through these misty cobwebs in order to address him. He had an upside-down ankh on his forehead, a inverted pyramid in one hand, and Roger's face on another hand. And Basically, he, this figure eventually just showed Roger all these fantastical images of him almost getting a godlike view of the earth, people being sucked into this yellow glowing ball of energy, and what's this? He's talking about this crawling chaos called Nyarlathotep. And she goes back to the front page of the bloody, or the of her notebook. A lot of my thoughts have been very disjointed about all this. And she looks up at them. Stop me if you have any questions, please. It's a lot to sort out. I've been spending a lot of time going through everything.
Nyarlathotep? Is that what you said?
Nyarlathotep.
Nyarlathotep. And that has all the stuff to do with the expedition, and do you think that's involved with Jackson and everything?
Whatever this is, it is what Roger Carlyle saw in his dreams, and I think his interactions with Dr. Huston exacerbated it, as he started keeping a dream journal and noting down all the interactions he had with this person in his dreams. Took him a while to finally name him, but he was very sure his name was Nyarlathotep. He was displayed as some sort of a pharaoh or something. She again goes through the notes. So she keeps kind of flipping. Everything is very disjointed. I'm sorry. And she kind of goes down the notes. The bloody tongues, anyway. I feel like they're connected to this Nyarlathotep, as later described in the notes. I will give them to you both after. But like I said, they cannot be seen by anyone else. And Miss Carlyle cannot know that you know. I have signed legal documentation to not talk about this. And this is greatly against doctor-patient confidentiality, but at this point, you need to know. Both of you. This, whatever it is, it's been contacting Roger. This is why I feel it's real, whatever it is.
It all sounds fantastical, but a yellow glowing ball of chaos was described?
It's this light. It was just in one or two of the dreams that he had. This is not the central point.
Yes, it brought back that thing that appeared in the study. That's what made me think of anyway.
And she
Yes.
pauses, and I forgot the color of it. That makes sense. Pauses.
So, if the light is connected, that means for sure the same thing that was bothering him was coming after us.
I think so. I feel, even related to what Jackson has said in much of his documentation. Jackson seemed to be experiencing dreams. He never goes into it, of course. Or with that short letter. I don't know if it's just nightmares, from what has happened, but ever since our encounter with that thing in the study, last 2 nights, I've had these greatly disturbing dreams. Running in the snow, running from something, and becoming old and withered and grey right before my eyes almost. I don't know if I am going down the same road as Jackson, and the same road as Roger, and eventually Dr. Huston started having these dreams as well.
He did?
He did. It is detailed in the last pages of his document that he started experiencing, some of the last pages, he started experiencing some dreams. I do not know exactly how much he had. He only mentioned it once, and there was a few other pages after that, but his writing seemed different, much more disjointed. The way he wrote, very similar to Jackson, it just evolved almost. Misspellings, things being crossed out.
What happened to the doctor?
The doctor was basically blackmailed into following Roger Carlyle to the expedition, and it is rumored he is dead, but according to Jackson, the principal members of the Carlyle expedition are not.
They're
Yes.
not.
I don't know if that includes Roger Carlyle, but maybe similar to, and she looks over to Thaddeus, maybe Mendoza. Something like that may have happened.
So did he think they were in hiding somewhere?
I don't know. At least one of them's hiding in Hong Kong. It has been noted in Jackson's letter. She goes to some of the last pages, and Jack Brady apparently is in Hong Kong. Jack Brady being one of the members of the expedition. I need to go back over the notes to figure out who exactly Jack Brady was, but he's apparently there according to someone, a Nelson in Nairobi.
Well, obviously I have a lot of catching up to do.
Yes, there is much we need to go over, Shelley. Much we need to tell you. Maybe this evening we can, just so everything I've been saying makes more sense. It just sounds like the ravings of a madwoman at this point, and I understand. But everything that I have read, everything has been written about Roger Carlyle by the doctor, for me, it just confirms that all of what we've experienced and everything that Jackson's written is true. But there is this thing he calls the Great Deceiver. I don't know. She pinches her brow and closes her eyes. There's much to still go over and connect. There's so many things. I apologize that my thoughts are so disjointed.
Well, it sounds like you haven't been getting much rest either.
No.
The car has come to a stop.
Oh, I guess we're here. I apologize.
Frank says, "We're at the address, sir."
Thank you, Frank. They look over and put his hand underneath. No need to apologize. This is a lot of to take in. The information is an overload for anybody.
Thank you, Thaddeus. Thank you. Part of me does not want to burden the two of you with everything that I have read, but I feel like it's necessary for us to figure out exactly what's going on if we all are on the same page.
Yes, that is definitely for sure, and you shouldn't have to burden yourself with everything, and that's what we're here for. I mean, Lord knows I've burdened you with enough in the past for years.
Of course.
I appreciate this gesture of trust, and I assure you that I would never let anyone know that, or say anything that would get you into trouble.
Thank you. This is betrays most of my morals as a psychologist, but at this point it's kind of out the window.
There's kind of a little smile. Oh, reminds me. And he kind of looks out the window. Seems kind of reminiscent to when we went to meet our friend. And he reaches inside and pulls out his pistol and actually loads it this time and puts it back just in case.
Hopefully it will not come to that.
You weren't sure if Frank noticed you do that, but apparently he did, because as soon as you load and chamber around, he hears it and looks back, and there's a concern on his face. Are we expecting trouble, sir?
No, I don't think we are, but it's just just a case thing. And it seems like every time we pull up to a place to go talk to somebody about what's going on in the world, it's a bunch of people with machetes are there.
What?
I think I'd better come with you, sir.
Oh, if you think it's
Feeling
prudent.
apprehensive. He gets out and opens the door.
Daddy should get out and offer his hand to help the ladies out.
Shelley's kind of muttering, machetes?
I guess we make our way towards the door.
All right. It's a nice apartment building.
Natalya looks at Thaddeus. Shall we?
Yes, I think it's time that we do. It's about time we figured out what's really going on around here.
Hopefully she's home.
Yes, I did mention that I like to surprise her. I mean, because who doesn't like surprises?
Please don't
Yes.
surprise me ever.
I figured every day was a surprise. And then kind of smile, and he'll look at the entrance of the doorway. Is there just a...
Yeah, there's a foyer, so you open the door, you can go in, there are mailboxes, and then there is a locked door that goes to a hall, and then there is a staircase off to the right that goes up.
Nah, is there like a buzzer to ring, or...
Nope.
Oh, if only we had somebody that can pick locks.
I know.
Well, you know the apartment number is on the address. And there are
there
steps.
buzzers?
The steps would apparently take you up.
So we could
Frank?
we could go up the steps without
Mm-hmm.
messing with the door.
Oh.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, so we'll start going up the stairs to find the address.
Okay. You do. And yeah, it's on the 3rd floor. So you walk up 3 flights, and there is the apartment, and there's a door.
Yeah. I guess we shall knock. Shall we knock?
I'll knock. Natalya just raps on the door
Okay.
3 times.
After about 10 seconds, you hear a voice on the other side of the door say, "Who is it?"
It's Thaddeus Pepin.
The door opens and you see Rebecca standing there, and she's got kind of I guess you'd call it an irritated look on her face. And she
There.
says, Thaddeus Pepin, why didn't you call me back?
Surprise! Like to surprise people.
Um, she steps aside and looks at all three of you and says, well, you better come in.
Ah, yes. And I hope you are doing well this evening, and Thaddeus will start walking in.
I've been better.
Well, hopefully that after our discussion tonight, you will feel a lot better.
She closes the door and locks it. She said, I wasn't expecting guests. I can make tea.
No, I am fine, and he'll look back at his great yard. So, are you guys thirsty?
Oh, please don't go to any...
Yes, I am perfectly adequate. Thank you.
I
She
do
says,
believe you.
ordinarily I'd insist, but not tonight. So, please have a seat then.
I do believe you know. Remember my friend Natalya. This is my friend Shelley.
Nice to meet you, Shelley. Natalya.
And you, Miss Chosen.
So Thaddeus will go ahead and make himself a little comfortable. Well,
So why did you decide to come all the way down here to see me?
of course I have some questions that I know for sure that you'll be able to answer. It seems that looking into our friend demise, as you know we were doing, your name keeps popping up quite a few times with some key individuals.
Does it?
Yes, I believe you know them both. One of them, of course, is the Adams that's on death row. We already know that one.
Of
And
course,
then,
I'm the one that approached you about him.
yes. And then, of course, your other friend now who's in lockup at the precinct.
Yes.
Well, it seems that when I talked to him, as I was graciously allowed by our, finest, and he'll save quotations, finest police officers in the city, uh, he, he did not want to share with them where he was that night of the murder, and that's what they are trying to pin on him. However, I was able to convince him to tell me where he was that night, and now we are here.
You see her eyes widen just a little bit for a moment. And she says, he told you that? Why would he say such a thing?
Well, because you were thinking that Adams is not guilty, and I am thinking the same thing with your friend. And of course, since he was with you, that obviously that proves my point.
We had been interviewing about the case, about Adams. I was going over some details with him.
Of
Well,
course.
mean-
Maybe you should share that with someone. That seems a perfectly legitimate reason to be meeting with.
Well, it was here in my apartment. It went late, the interview, and I let him sleep on my couch since it was a long way back to his home. It looks very improper, as I'm sure you understand.
Yes, it does look improper, and however, if it was just that, then I feel like he would have shared it with the world. So it leaves us to believe it's a little deeper, which is fine with us. However,
You can see her take a big breath when you say that, and Natalya doesn't take a psychology roll for you to see that she's... there's a moment of panic that crosses her face when he says that.
And Natalya will kind of put a hand on Thaddeus' shoulder. Thaddeus, do you mind if I interrupt?
Oh, yes, yes. Please do.
Thank you.
She gets up from her chair and goes over. She has a small bar, and she says, "Can I pour any of you a drink? I think I would like something a little stronger than tea."
Vodka, please.
I'll take a whiskey if you got a whiskey.
All right. She pours the glasses, and Shelley, she just gives you some whiskey as well, since she didn't say anything.
So she wasn't going to ask for any, but she'll take it politely.
And she sits down, and you can see she takes a nice long drink.
Miss Shosenburg, I would like to know, or let you know exactly where we come from, and where we stand with this, and why I know that look. And something like this cannot go into any of your articles. I do hope. I do trust. As
She says, "Look, I don't want any trouble from anyone, all right? I think Mr. Adams is innocent, and I'm certain that Mr. Johnson is also innocent, but I'm not looking to create any trouble for myself. Do you understand?"
of course. And she looks to Thaddeus.
So I'm not really sure what your angle is here.
Well, the angle is, of course, and I promised him that, of course, I would not share with the police because he seems content that even though you could prove his innocence, and perhaps you still can if you devise a way to prove that he was here with you for part of that night. But we are trying to figure out the connection that him and Adam share with maybe the real killers. I mean, it seems to me that they're being targeted at this point, right?
I believe they are.
So perhaps you can provide us some insight, maybe, to see if, who the actual people are. I'm sure your friend and Mr. Adams, of course, have their own reservations, but I haven't talked to Mr. Adams yet, and your friend is more than being quiet about the whole thing.
Well, I don't know who's doing it. I had hoped they would figure it out. They've been trying to figure it out for some time.
And they never told you if any suspicions or thoughts, or...
I've asked them on several occasions. They don't know who's doing it.
Okay.
They've been watching the streets and trying to keep people safe and creating a presence on the streets to deter anyone who might have an idea to kill again. I don't know if it's worked. Maybe it has, but they've not caught anyone, and they've voiced no suspicions as to who might be responsible.
Oh. So then perhaps it would be a waste of our time to talk to Mr. Adams then, do you think?
Well, I don't think he's going to be able to tell you who it is.
What?
I've spoken with him at length about it. He really has no idea who's behind this.
So maybe now we're at another dead end. Then Status is gonna kind of look kind of defeated.
So is this how you're acquainted with your friend? Through this investigate?
Well, yes, it's a professional relationship, nothing more.
I wasn't implying
Mr. Adams was arrested, and I thought it seemed entirely too convenient. He confessed to save his 4 friends from also being arrested with him. I thought that was wrong and indicated that he was a good man, so I took his part. And so yes, I've been interviewing all all 4 of the remaining Hellfighters.
Well, I wouldn't want you to be viewed as having done anything improper, but perhaps there's some sort of compromise with your conscience you could come to with regard to maybe he stopped by to drop something off, or to ask you if you'd heard from Adams at a certain time that night. A certain time that you know he would have been here anyway.
Perhaps, yes.
Well,
I'll have to think about it. And
Let me just tell you, Miss Shosenburg, to have the ability to do something, to be able to save someone that you have she makes a gesture. She doesn't mean what she actually means. A professional relationship with, that you have the power to be able to try and save that individual. Or most likely death. You shouldn't waste that. Coming from someone who was not able to save someone they had a professional relationship with. If you catch my meaning.
she frowns at you, and she says, she gets up and she says, "I'll certainly keep your advice in mind." She says, "Now, if you don't mind, I have a busy day tomorrow."
Well, what did you call Mr. Pepin about?
I do believe she was just returning my phone call.
Oh, I see.
I was.
But, Ms. Solzenberg, you could kind of rest easy if you decide not to do anything. I am, of course, as long as you could corroborate that he was here. Is there anybody else that may have seen him enter the building?
I don't know. I haven't asked.
Well,
she kind of blushes a little bit.
but you are willing, you are saying that he was here the whole night then? He never left?
I just told you that he did. That
Okay.
really mustn't. You mustn't discuss that with anyone. I
Well,
trust you not to
well, it's
go bandying that about.
that won't be the problem. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that I will have my attorneys work with your friend, and I will actually place a few phone calls to see if I can do something else about it. I just need to be sure that it's not him that was killing my friend.
I assure you it wasn't him. And if you really can do something for him, I'd be very grateful.
Well, I can try to do something for him. If whether it fails or not, that's not up to me, of course. As you can tell, I can only do so much. But maybe with a few phone calls and some pressure, it will kind of change things around.
Well, I hope so. Maybe you can put some of that money and influence to work for someone deserving for a change.
Natalia's gonna frown at her and look very judgmentally at Rebecca. Yes, Thaddeus, I know, will try everything he can to defend this man that he barely knows, but, you know, it is fine for someone like you to not say anything.
Well, I bid you a good night, and she goes to the door and opens it.
Yes. And then Thaddeus will drink the rest of the drink. It seems that we kind of overstayed our welcome. And he'll look, one last look at,
She doesn't say anything to that.
I know, one last look at Rebecca. I do hope you have a good night, and like I said, whether you decide to do something or not, it's entirely up to you, and it may be unnecessary, but I do appreciate your time. And he'll go ahead and
She
walk up.
seems unsure what to say, so she says nothing.
And Natalya just kind of glares at her as she leaves.
She meets your gaze. Make a power roll.
Power.
Oh yeah. She looks away first.
Natalya just is, as they exit, she's just fuming.
And she closes the door behind you, and you hear the locks go into place.
As Thaddeus is walking down towards the car, kind of mention the time. Now, it's quite a thing that if she gets caught associating with the man of color, kind of do quotations as he's walking, trying not to fall down the stairs. That it's regardless of what happens to the young men, she would be ostracized. So it is quite understandable that in order to maintain some type of livelihood, that she does not say something.
True. She wants to maintain some sort of livelihood, but in terms of her consciousness, sure, she can have the man's life on her hands.
Well,
I would do the complete opposite if it came to Jackson.
well,
That's...
we kind of did the same thing with Mr. Jackson, because obviously know more about the Peru and stuff that we had shared.
Yes, but he was already dead, so there's no need for me to divulge the nature of our relationship.
But no, I'm not talking about the relationship. I'm talking about the crazy things that we saw.
That is completely different, I feel, Thaddeus.
Well, I for one don't want to be looked at like I'm crazy. Yeah, kind of smile.
Natalya is still brows furrowed.
And as they get to the car, oh, I almost forgot. We got lunch, or I guess it would be dinner, on the road today. And he'll climb in their car and reach over and grab a nice wrapped deli sandwich.
It's a little cold now, but yep. And Frank says, "I assume it's home, sir."
Yes, I'm not sure. Do we have anything anywhere else to go? And he'll kind of start looking a little defeated again. Look
He
over
says,
to
I assume there's still 8 rounds in the chamber.
Yes, nobody had.
Or in the magazine. Yeah. Alright. So you head back.
8 rounds in the clip.
And you get home. Home sweet home. Alright. What now?
Natalya looks at Thaddeus once they get back. If you can unlock the safe again, I will bring out the notes for you both to look at. I can give you the short version of it to make it easier. It's quite a bit to read.
Thaddeus will actually reach in his pocket and pull out a little weird-looking key. I trust you. He'll hand her the key. You could go ahead and get the notes. I'm gonna go fix a drink. I'll fix everybody a drink. We all can need a drink.
Thank you, Thaddeus. That she'll head off to his room and open up the painting safe.
Mm-hmm.
Thaddeus will go to the study and start making drinks for everybody.
Does Natalya see anything interesting in the safe, Thaddeus?
It would just be pictures of him and his you know, deceased slash disappeared wife.
Mm-hmm.
Happy times.
Yeah, she might take a quick peek, but not to disturb any of his personal documentation. She won't move anything before closing the safe back up and locking it and coming back out into the study.
All right.
And she'll take a seat, having the folder in her lap, and she'll have also the collection of different documents, articles she's written out by hand, and all the stuff they've received, and she'll put it on one of the tables, spreading it out before opening the manila folder. These are extremely confidential documents.
I understand. What is it that we're looking at?
So these are documentations of what I feel is the descent of Roger Carlyle, and in comparison, Dr. Huston. As Dr. Huston decided to develop a friendship with Roger. She starts kind of flipping through, putting out each page one by one. She takes her own notebook and pulls it out and kind of goes through it a bit. Skips a couple paragraphs down. I'm scanning over her own notes. Let's see. Roger ended up finding this woman, Maware, I think is the pronunciation of the name, at a club here in New York City. She was some sort of, I think, African princess, something like that. I think she was the reason she really spurred Roger to go down this path. She is going to defend the flames for him to go to Egypt, and Roger had expressed wanting to go at some point, but Moe really pressed the issue. It is also noted that, what is his name? I flipped through her notes again, going back to some of the articles, and you can tell this is kind of what she has been doing over the past few hours, just going back and forth and back and forth. Gentleman from the Penhew Foundation, the archaeologist, I'm not sure if anybody reached out to him, but in Dr. Huston's own words, it seemed very random almost that the archaeologist or the Egyptologist would reach out to Roger. Like he somehow knew that Roger was looking into going there. As Roger, he wanted to achieve some sort of godlike status after having these dreams, interacting with his Nyarlathotep. There's been some allusions within the dreams to masks, masks falling down when he had this dream of his mother just consuming just these candies, these sweets, confectionaries, and growing larger and larger into this bloated, obese creature that shaped into something completely different from his mother. And tried to consume this, what was his father turned into this pharaoh person from his dreams, I think, who he refers to as Nyarlathotep. If my readings are correct. I know he felt very, very scared by her, but as she attempted to consume this other man, basically, I think his body or something evaporated, and all that was left was a mass that clattered onto the ground. This is why I think the what is it? Those masks that were at, what was his name? You'll kind of go back through some of the other notes, some of the things they've collected. Silas, the gentleman from Kenya. I don't know if he's connected, but I think this is just peace. That just a tangent, maybe something to get lost on. The bloody tongues, and again, this is all very disjointed. The thing they worship, the people in Kenya, they are scared of them. What they worship, it's not of African ideologies, but going back, it's not even really listed in, I think, any sort of histories at all. I don't think, if I was to try to search for this Nyarlathotep, I don't think there would be anything documented. I don't think he is any sort of form of deity that people worship. And she again flips through her notes, going through. It is said by Roger that I think he comes from space or something, because he keeps having these cosmic dreams and kind of viewing the world from a godlike point, but whatever it is, it seems to... He had this passage when Dr. Huston put him under this hypnosis. He went on this... I should have written it down. It is almost a very poetic tangent, talking about how Nyarlathotep was this crawling chaos, and that I think he would be the only one left, or something like that. There's just this, and again, as assemblages of monstrous figures, and these balls of light, in triangles. Something to do with the pyramids. I don't know. This all seems to be tangents that I read and I go on, but it's all connected some way. And I feel like Jackson mentions these gates, these gates that these people are looking to open, and I feel there's this connection between Augustus Larkin and Roger Carlyle. I didn't tell you while we were there, but Larkin was using heroin. I have a feeling that he's had these dreams too, and he used heroin to silence them somehow, maybe to stop them from coming in. I never questioned him on it, and I wish I could have at this point, but I have a feeling that's why he was so adamant on the usage of drugs. She'll kind of sigh and look to the two of you, back and forth. I'm sorry. It is a lot, I know.
Shelley's kind of flipping through the notes as you're talking. This African priestess, Mweru, I think, Marwareo.
Aware, yes.
Did she go on the expedition?
She did.
Trying to...
I think. She did not once.
Egyptologist.
Yes. That's where the... forget his full name, but Penhew was the last one. We found that business card for the gentleman, the Penhew Foundation in in England.
Hmm.
Yes, the one that Miss Carlyle had no idea about.
Yes.
So again, we are back to African Kenyan Silas.
Indeed, and Jackson mentioned in his notes that the only way that the Carlisle expedition, can be understood is if you follow it through Egypt, which is where they went first. They went up the Nile and they went into Kenya. I think they were trying to find this pyramid.
I see.
It says here that he met this woman at the Club Hacha here in New York. Do you think there'd be any point into asking around about her?
That might be good to ask. My only thing that I am greatly nervous about is how much Jackson talked about how there was almost spies or many people involved in this. The people who killed him definitely are involved in this. And the police, of course, at least certain members. Whatever this is this. I think this is Nyarlathotep. I think it has a very large reach. I don't know if this Bloody Tongues group is what they all call themselves, but... And she'll point over to the files. It is mentioned in there that the man, the pharaoh in the dreams, he occasionally comes up with, instead of having a gaunt face, from his torso a large tentacle-like appendage comes out.
A tentacle like appendage.
Yes.
Oh my.
Shelley makes a face. That's unpleasant.
Indeed. It is. I do hope that this... I am hoping that information is not the spread of this. As again in Jackson's notes, he said he wants to make his readers believe to see. I am partially worried that, as in the notes, his writing seemed to go downhill. There's definitely a change in him, some sort of change in mannerisms. I'm slightly afraid by the spread of information. I'm hoping I'm wrong on this, because I do not want to have that affect the two of you. I do hope these dreams are not the same as Jackson's.
Well, yes. We shall hope not. It seems like it likes to spread to other people as well, like a virus.
I can see why you'd be worried about that, but from what you've said, I haven't said anything about your dreams that couldn't be explained by having such horrible experiences lately. So maybe try not to worry about it too much yet.
I will keep documentation of them.
So, do you think it's a good idea if we go back to Silas? And
I do not think he has any more information for us. If he is an agent of this Bloody Tongues, this Nyarlathotep, I am worried.
Well, if he is an agent, to me it would be a start, because it'd be either him, police officer, in the import place. And the import place really doesn't know that we're involved in trying to find stuff in connection with Jackson. I think that maybe another visit, maybe a more convincing visit, and
Oh,
the telephone
I think so.
thing, and then
One of
maybe
your servants has answered it. And your butler comes in. He says, "Sir, it's Mabel calling."
Yes, Mabel. Excuse me 1 second.
Of
I'll
course.
stand up and go over and grab the phone. Ah, yes, Mabel.
I'm so sorry to disturb you this late at night, Mr. Pepin. I debated whether I should call you now or wait till the morning, but I hope it's not too late.
Oh, no. It is never too late to call me, Mabel. You can anytime it is necessary. In fact, I was needing to talk to you anyways. So, but go ahead and what would you like to talk to me about?
Well, that private investigator you had me hire to watch Mr. Nkwane, he called me a few minutes ago from a payphone.
Oh,
He said that now tried to write it down as he was talking. I wanted to get it just right. He said that Mr. Nkwane never went home this evening, and that he's been observing gentlemen arriving at the Juju house all evening.
and this is going on now.
Yes, he said that he would. He gave me a number to call and said that if you called back, I can call him back with any instructions you might have for him.
And Thaddeus is gonna kind of sit there for a moment. Yes. You could call them back and tell them that we are gonna come down and see for ourselves.
Oh, all right. I'll call him back. Do you want me to? Well, oh goodness, how will I reach you then?
No, you don't need to call us back. In fact, I'll call you in the next morning and let you know that we are saved, or maybe have the detective phone you again from the payphone when we find them.
Oh dear. Well, do be safe, Mr. Pepin.
Yes. And while I get you on the line, uh, I have a friend who's in a situation. His name is
Needham
Mr.
Johnson.
Yeah, Mr. Arthur Emerson. I would like some of our attorneys to assist him in his case, if you can notify them and let them know.
Very, very well. I can take care of that. It's Needham Johnson, by the way, not Arthur.
Oh, Johnson. Oh, there it is, Needham. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was looking for her.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
She says, all right, sir. I'll engage an attorney for him. If you have any further instructions about that, just let me know.
Yes. This will do. And I thank you. That is quite prudent that you called me tonight. That is an important information to give me.
Well, he sounded like it might be important, or I wouldn't have bothered you.
Yes. I do appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful evening.
Oh, and you too, Mr. Pepin.
And with that, he's going to hang up the phone and he's going to look at the butler.
Sir?
Would you kindly go get the the shotguns at the cabinet.
Seems a little late for skeet shooting, sir.
Yes, but nonetheless, I need them fully loaded and ready to go with us.
I see. Right away.
Shotguns?
And he'll look over at Natalya and a little smile. It's quite a coincidence that we were talking about Mr. Silas. It seems that the private detective that I had scouted him out has observed a few people entering the building after hours with him staying there. Maybe it might be worth something to look at for ourselves.
Natalia's gonna look a bit nervous and shrink a little bit. If possible, I would like to avoid any sort of conflict.
Yes, this is merely to be cautioned because obviously we didn't know the people that we're dealing with were out to do us harm. So
Of course. Maybe just observe.
yes,
The butler comes back, leading two servants with two shotguns apiece on their arms, and Frank is following up behind them. And Frank says, "May I ask what's going on, Mr. Pepin?"
yes. It seems that we are going to go visit Mr. Nakwami, and he has some guests. We are going to see if this is something that might require more attention or not. However, the shotguns, of course, are for the machete-wielding individuals that need to be there. I mean, one can never be too safe.
Very well. Frank takes one of those shotguns. Yeah, your servants are trying not to look concerned, but you can see they're sort of very subtly passing looks back and forth as the shotguns are taken.
And Thaddeus would grab two and take them over, of course, to Shelley and the top. I can't carry all these.
And she'll take one into her hands very awkwardly, not really knowing how to use one. Just go ahead.
So Shelley will take one, and she actually seems pretty comfortable holding it, but she looks pretty alarmed at the situation in general. Who is this that we're going to visit, and what is this about machetes?
Well, hopefully it's just a merchant and a few friends getting together for who knows what, but just on the off chance that it's a merchant getting attacked by machete-wielding people, or if it's machete-wielding people and the merchant wielding machete. I don't know. I just like to be safe.
Any and or all of the above.
Yes, this is to equalize the situation.
Natalia will take the shotgun into her hands and hold it awkwardly and stand up. I'm just going to grab quickly something from my bedroom. One moment, and she'll hustle out of the study.
The butler has a couple of cases of cartridges. It says, "Will you be requiring any replenishment, sir?"
Yes.
Frank reaches over and grabs one of the boxes
Yes, we shall take those boxes.
and starts shoving some shells in his pockets.
Machetes, Shelley says, and she reaches out and takes a box of shells and puts it in her handbag. Shuts it.
Talia goes to her room and grabs her set of brass knuckles just for comfort, and leaves the room, still awkwardly holding the shotgun, never really holding a shotgun before, and just very uncomfortable with that in general.
Mm-hmm.
Thaddeus will look at Frank. How long do you think it will take us to get to Mr. Silence's shop?
Maybe a little over half an hour. Less if you want me to push it.
Yes. And he'll look at his butler. I need you to phone directly, not the precinct, because I'm sure he's not there no more. But perhaps you can convince the operator to connect you to Detective Madison, and let him know that that there might be something interesting going on over at Mr. Silas's shop. His first name is Martin. His last name is Poole. No wait, not Poole. Madison. Where's he at?
Yeah, I actually didn't put him on there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Give the details.
Yep.
And then make sure that's phoned directly to his house and tell him that we would like to meet him there, but you could call him, but wait 25 minutes to call him.
Very well, sir. I'll do as you ask.
I appreciate that.
All right. Frank is getting the car ready.
And hopefully that the only thing I'll be doing is making Detective Madsen even more mad at me for getting him out of bed and nothing else happened.
I don't think I would trust Detective Madsen, but alright.
Yeah. We will kind of see. I mean, that's why I'm giving us a head start, so that way we can kind of assess the situation before he even gets there. And
I do hope I do not end up in the hospital again.
well, that's just why you got the big gun.
Yes. She'll nod before making her way to the car. She's not at all comfortable with the situation. Her whole body language just very hesitant.
Daddy's just nervously, kind of just like lurking around, really uneasy, hoping that it's just a merchant. No, not an agent of this tongue or Nyarlathotep or anything that, as Natalya has put it. He's thinking it's just too coincidental that his name popped up and then the detective calls and.
Once they're in the car, Shelley's gonna keep herself busy by examining her firearm and seeing if it's loaded, loading a couple shells in,
Yeah,
showing Natalya how to do it.
It is not loaded currently. So yes.
She'll, would you like a quick lesson on how to use this? You don't look entirely
Sure, yes, please, and
It's
she'll-
quite simple, and she'll go on and start explaining.
Yeah, Natalya is just she seems like the closer they get, just in general, the more scared she looks.
Yep.
Yeah,
Buddy boys.
That is with aid Shelley and the operation of the safety and everything. Showing her, I mean, not showing Natalya how to operate it. And of course, load up his own. Then he harkens back to the hotel and the shooting of the people and the kind of horrifying moments, but at the same time trying to pull up some steady reserve to steel himself.
I used to go hunting with my father when I was little. It was quite enjoyable. This doesn't feel anything like that.
I assure you, if this is something that goes bad, it's not enjoyable at all.
Natalya, you can make a sanity check for me with 1 bonus die.
Oh, God.
All right. You're getting your nerves under control. Little nervous, but yeah, it sounds like.
I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. It's something that I think maybe we should see for ourselves.
Natalya will nod. She's not saying too much over the car ride, just kind of trying to calm her breathing and mostly keeping her eyes shut. Kind of acknowledging if she's talked to.
Okay. You do make it into Harlem without any difficulty. He is driving pretty quickly, and you eventually get in the neighborhood, and Frank asks how you want to do this.
Well, for starters, we need to find the detective. He's using the payphone to phone Mabel.
You never asked for the number.
No. Alright, Thaddeus would just assume there's some payphones around the shop, and we could kind of drive in circles.
Most payphones at this point are like in drugstores or something like that. So make a luck check.
I mean, worst case scenario, maybe he just kind of looking at the place and sees a bunch of people arrive.
Nice. You very close by. There's a drugstore across the street in Little Africa, like right here, and you can stop there. It is not open, but there is a payphone right outside.
Do we see any person standing by the payphone as we pull up?
You see a couple of black guys smoking cigarettes, and they just sort of look at you, kind of curiously, because you're pulling up in a limousine. And I assume you didn't change, so you're still dressed in your fine clothes. So yeah, they just kind of look at you like you're, and the one guy says, "You lost, mister?"
No, I'm merely looking for a friend who phoned one of my friends, and I told him to wait at the payphone. You wouldn't happen to know anybody that's waiting for somebody to come see them by a payphone, would you?
They kind of push themselves away from the wall that they were leaning against. And Frank's kind of getting out of the car. He's gotten out of the car too. And hold on just a minute. I'm getting a phone call.
No
I'll be
problem.
right back.
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
If you die getting mugged in Harlem, that's going to be kind of...
It'd be hilarious.
It'd be the perfect ending.
Yeah. Oh my god. Hey guys, let's roll up with shotguns. Man.
I don't know. No, I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, but it's just like, I do not want to get into fights. Hasn't been that long since she's been, cut up. Jesus.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry. So,
Hello.
Thaddeus still there?
Yep.
So they kind of start walking over, and they see Frank standing there with a shotgun. So they kind of stop, but the one guy says, "I might have seen somebody."
Oh, you might have seen somebody. How long ago did you see him?
They look at each other, and say, "You wouldn't happen to have a cigarette or anything, would you?"
Well, I don't smoke, but Frank, do you smoke?
Frank says he does, and he takes out a pack of cigarettes and gives them a cigarette. And the guy says, "Yeah, I saw a white guy at the phone there."
Oh, and where did this white guy go?
He points across the street in that direction. Said he made a phone call and went over there.
And they just kind of turn around and look. Can you see anything over there that's particular would be somewhere?
It's Juju House is right over there at the end of the street.
Oh, he went to the Juju house. Oh no. Did he go inside there?
They're pointing actually. He went like there. There's a back street. There's a street like this. So Juju House is in this kind of a little cul-de-sac here. And he went down this other adjoining street behind it.
And Thaddeus kind of look at Frank. Do you want to drive over there, or do you think we can walk over
The
there?
other guy coughs and he says, "I don't know if I remember exactly where he went, but I'd have to think about that."
And that's turn. And by think about, how many times would you have to think about it?
I don't know.
How much thinking?
5 times?
Thaddeus would reach into his vest and pull out a billfold and generously count out some money. And I believe this is more thinking that would be needed.
He looks at it and deftly slips it into his pocket and says, "Yeah, he went right in that building there. It's an abandoned pawn shop. I don't know what he's doing in there, but there's basically nothing much in there. Just
Well,
vandals
feel
and
like-
stuff hang out there."
If you feel like staying here and waiting for one of my other friends to show, it'd be definitely worth more than what I just gave you.
Sure. What does this friend look like?
Oh, yeah, he patrols around this neighborhood.
They look at each
Is
other.
it-
Patrol?
He's a police officer. I'm sure he'll be looking at my car when he comes up, and he'll probably look at you guys. However, you could point him in the direction we went to, and he'll happily come looking for me.
Okay, they look at each other and kind of go back to their spot.
And then Thaddeus will go over and to the car and, well, should we go find our detective?
All right. Shelley will put her handbag around one shoulder and then kind of awkwardly grab the shotgun in the other and get out of the car. She'll give a little wave to the men up against the wall.
They don't know what to make of that. They just, again, kind of look at each other.
Natalya, are you gonna come with us?
Yeah, Natalia takes a deep breath. Yes, I'm coming. She'll step out of the car. And like look around the other two. Did the other two, sorry, bring their weapons or?
Oh, yeah, Thaddeus
I
is
did.
definitely bringing his weapon.
She makes sure she has the brass knuckles too, and just awkwardly again, pulls the shotgun and. Okay.
Say hello to our new friends over there. They're gonna be waiting for Detective Madsen to show up. I think he's gonna point us in the way we went.
The strangest posse in history.
This is what it definitely
There's
is.
4 people walking down the street with shotguns.
In Harlem.
In
Shelley
Harlem.
straightens her
Yeah.
stockings.
All dressed up nice. Except for Natalya.
Mhm.
Natalia's nice. Just not fancy, just, business. And Natalia will follow the others.
But
Okay.
Frank,
All right, you get down. It's not very far down the street where the pawn shop is. It's just a couple of doors down. You can see that it is. It had windows, but they're boarded up. The place is definitely kind of abandoned.
now, is there a way we could spot that the way Detective got in there?
There is a door up a set of steps.
And maybe the detective went in there.
And
Hopefully.
make an intelligence roll.
There is no intelligence in this whatsoever.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my.
It's destiny.
Very good. So you are quite certain, you've never seen it from this side, but immediately adjoining the pawn shop, further down the street, you're quite certain it's Juju House from the look of the building. So you're kind of looking at it from the back.
Oh my. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna move you over there. And if you
Oh, no.
scroll to the right, actually let me move you all down a little bit. There.
Oh boy, it's a map. Oh no.
It's
Are we
all
supposed to be able to
good.
see it?
It's just a map, nothing to be afraid of.
I don't think I have sight.
Yeah, I don't have sight
I have
as
sight.
well.
Oh,
Natalia's superior.
you should.
Can't say. It's awfully dark.
Oh, why isn't it on? Okay, my bad.
Ooh, I can see. Ooh, this
There we
cane.
go.
And Natalia, you do as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, you think he was trying to get into the Juju house from the pawn shop, maybe?
This was what it looks like if he came in here.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, this is the pawn shop right there.
yes, if there are still people inside, we should be very careful.
Yes. But maybe we should be a little sneaky. But then again, if it's something that's nothing bad going on, we could kind of just walk it back out.
Okay. Frank, you want to lead the way?
Sure. He goes up the steps to the door and gives it a look over. And he says quietly back, it looks like Natalya's behind him.
Mm.
He says quietly back to Natalya, it looks like the door is open.
She looks back at the rest. He says it's open. Shall we
Good.
take a peek?
Yes. I think we should. Hopefully not Detective Madsen be following in and behind us.
He kind of pushes the door in, and it it kind of swings in on its hinges. It's a little squeaky, but it does open. And Frank goes inside. Did anybody
Yeah,
bring a flashlight?
Shelley did.
Oh, of course she
Always
will.
prepared.
There she goes. Yeah.
Natalia follows
I was
behind.
just about to ask what the light situation was inside the building.
Yeah, it's dark. It's there. There's just there's a little bit of light coming. This is an extremely dark night. In fact, Shelley, you would know it's a new moon tonight, so there's essentially the sky is quite dark.
Okay, well, she was avoiding turning the flashlight on until it was absolutely necessary because it kind of puts a spotlight on you to have it on.
Mm-hmm.
But once they're inside the building, she'll click it on and
Okay.
direct it around the...
You can do that actually. You have a flashlight. It's you should anyway. Did I not turn it on for you? I guess I did not. Hold on.
Of all things that I can forget, flashlight.
Shelley always carries a flashlight and her mini
All right.
toolkit.
There you go. So now you have at the end you have a flashlight and a torch or lantern.
Yeah, there we go.
And you can turn your if you turn your token around, it'll shine.
Cool.
So yeah, it's I don't have furniture and stuff in here. There's not a whole lot. This place is completely abandoned. There is some kind of broken wood and stuff. There's not a whole lot in here.
But looks like there's a door
Heaps of
straight
junk.
ahead.
Yes, yep, there is.
She'll
And
kind of
you
just
can
point at...
can even see like right here. There's a little bit of light from the outside coming in, like little cracks of light where there was a window. In fact, as you get closer, you can see that it had been boarded up too, and one of the boards has been pried off and sort of moved a little to the side to create like a hole big enough to sort of look through.
Ah. It looks like maybe your detective friend was... had a little spy hole here. And she'll go over to it, kind of click off her flashlight, and peer in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's a little alley back
That
here.
is right there.
Yep. And Natalya, when you look through, you recognize it as the little cul-de-sac, which is where the Juju house is. So you know that next to it, like here, would be the door to Juju House.
Oh, okay.
You recognize this little alley.
And we don't see anyone in the alley.
You do not presently. You can make a spot hidden check, however.
Okay.
Two of us?
Just Shelley, because she's the one
Okay.
looking first.
Mm. Ooh.
Yeah, you do not see...
I don't see
You
anyone.
don't see anyone out there.
Okay, maybe.
And you can turn your flashlight on and off, by the way. So you have a little extinguish light if you want to flip it off.
Oh,
But
got it.
I'm just going to let you kind of manage your own light.
This looks like the area that leads to Juju House, the outside. Are we gonna try and find the detective, Thaddeus, or
Natalya, make a spot hidden check for me.
no?
Okay.
So close.
I can use luck.
You could.
Yeah. So be what? 3 points so far?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where's my luck again? Yeah, so I'll do that.
Okay. You notice that there are cigarette butts all kind of like on the windowsill here and on the floor. And you see in the dim light, you see one cigarette on the floor that is only barely smoked at all. And all around it and on this sill are all these cigarette butts, and they're all like smashed in the same way. Except that one is barely touched.
Yeah, I think our detective friend, definitely, the private investigator was here. You're right, Shelley. These cigarette butts show that he's been monitoring this place for a while. I do not know if maybe he left his cigarette here because he saw the men walking into the Juju house and left to contact Thaddeus. Or what, or if something else happened. But he was definitely here he had to leave abruptly.
Oh, I didn't notice those. Good eye.
Thanks.
Yeah, perhaps we should go into the alleyway and see if he's sitting out there somewhere.
Okay. Let's... I think Juju house is right there too. We should just be careful.
Okay. I can open the door and kind of shine a light around, but
I would keep the light off just in case.
okay.
Yes. If he's out there, he should notice us walk out.
Shelley, it tries the door, and does it open in or out?
It opens in.
And she'll open it a crack and kind of peer out into the alley.
Okay.
I don't see anyone. She'll open it a little farther, trying to keep it quiet.
Yeah, so you can move around a little bit.
And then she'll step out into the alley and make room for other people.
Talia will. Might as well. Very carefully.
Sorry.
Maybe we should, listen in to see if we can hear any movements from the juju house.
Yes,
If there's any windows peer in.
that would be a good idea. Maybe something to look through, like a keyhole.
Oh, yes.
Are these windows down here?
That is a door, and then next to it is a little window.
Shelley will kind of creep down to the window,
Okay.
kneel down, and just barely peer in.
Yeah, you see a guy kind of standing with his side to you. And another guy kind of walk over, and they look like they're having a quiet conversation.
She quickly ducks down and moves off to the side and whispers to Thaddeus, there are people in there. I don't know if one of them is your detective friend.
Oh, no.
They're having a conversation.
Can you hear them at all? Or is there...
I can try. Why doesn't someone else come over and see if they recognize anyone? And she'll go over and she'll be very quiet and focus on listening.
Okay.
Thaddeus will kind of do the same, kind of trying to get a good look and
Mm-hmm.
put his ear up to the door.
Okay. One of you can make a listen roll.
Well, I mean, advantageous here.
The window's closed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thaddeus might be able to hear
it's
better
gonna be,
through the
unless they're
door.
talking very loudly, it's gonna be a tough
Right.
thing.
Yeah, probably.
Why don't you roll? I think you'd hear better by the door.
That's what you think.
No. You don't hear
I don't
anything in there.
Yeah, I don't even want to push it because it's gonna be bad.
Damn it. I'm just kidding.
Fine, I'll push it. What could go wrong? You're all gonna die anyways.
I followed the door.
I'm gonna open it as I'm leaning on it.
Yeah.
I can push it there, and
Okay, go ahead.
alright. This is probably the worst idea I've ever listened to.
Yeah. Actually, yes. The door is unlocked, and you do kind of. You're pressing your ear against the door, and the door swings open, and you kind of go tumbling inside on the floor, and let out a kind of as you hit the floor.
Where's Frank?
In fact, make a luck roll for me, please.
It gets better.
Okay. All right. Not bad. So you don't hurt yourself, and your shotgun doesn't go off by accident or anything like that. So yeah, what do you want to do? What's your immediate reaction?
This the scammer up to my feet, of course, and he's gonna kind of like look over in front of him, and of course he's still holding the shotgun. Has anybody seen a white feller come walking through here?
You hear a voice, and it's familiar, and he says, "We are closed."
When Shelley was looking through, did she see a white guy?
It's
Or maybe can't tell.
they're in shadow. Yeah, it's really hard. There's no lights on in here. It's very dark in
Right.
there.
Oh,
You can see them approaching, these two guys. Do you lie there on the floor, or are you getting up?
oh no, he would have got up before, like as he was getting up, he would have said that.
Yeah, okay.
And then
So he gets up and you recognize Silas.
yeah, and Thaddeus being nervous and the messing detective, he's gonna go ahead and rack the shotgun. I wouldn't get too close.
Silas stops. The other guy stops.
Shelley has positioned herself now at the window rather than behind him, and she has her shotgun up, although she's not trying to be conspicuous.
Okay.
Tally's just kind of just peeping around the corner
What
as
about
best
Frank?
as she
Yeah,
can.
Frank's like right here behind you, Natalya.
I have no plan for this.
Silas and the other guy just kind of stop, and you can see Silas kind of look at you curiously and kind of puts his hands out, kind of in a conciliatory way, and he just says, Is this to be a robbery, my friend?
Yeah. Not a robbery. No, not at all. It could be just a misunderstanding. I don't know. And he's shrugging with the shotgun in his arm. I am just looking for the white guy that came in here. That's all. That is all.
He said, I don't get many white customers.
Yes, I do understand that. Aside from me bumbling in through your door, but he was supposed to meet me right outside this door, and he's not
You can see
here.
he's kind of edging just a little closer, as is the other guy. You can make a spot hidden check for me.
Oh no! I'm just as good at listening with spot hidden. Yes.
Okay.
Have you not seen?
Natalya and Shelley, you also can attempt spot hidden checks.
Okay. No.
All right.
Shelley. All right.
Thank God.
Shelley. I'm going to whisper something to you.
Just standing awkwardly in the doorway. The door was unlocked. At least that's not breaking and entering.
Okay.
So Silas says, "Oh, it's you, Thaddeus Pepin.
Shelley is going
what a
to
pleasant surprise."
look over to Natalya and Frank, and she is going to make a chopping motion with her hand, and she's going to point at the window.
Yes.
Natalya is confused at that signaling.
It is me, Thaddeus.
And
And
Pepin.
she's going to mouth.
Yeah, it's too dark. It's too dark for them to see anything
Right.
with mouth.
I guess she'll... If Natalya doesn't look like she's getting it,
You don't.
she'll...
You have no idea if she's getting it.
Okay.
She's just looking at you. And Silas just takes another step closer to you, Thaddeus, and he says, "We should discuss this, my friend."
What is there to discuss now? He's holding his shotgun a little tighter. He's getting ready to swing it around and level at people. He's still trying to be courteous. I do say, my friend, I'm going to ask you to keep your distance. Otherwise, it's gonna quite unnecessary in here.
He stops, and he says, "That looks like a dangerous weapon."
Yes, and that is why I have it. It's to kill dangerous people.
Why are you here, Thaddeus?
Because my friend came here and I'm looking for him.
Your friend. Tell me about your friend.
I hear your phone is a ringing. You might want to
Thaddeus
go
looks
answer that.
behind him. That is my telephone. Do you mind if I go and answer it?
Yes. Feel free to go answer it.
He kind of slowly edges back.
And at that, Thaddeus just kind of maneuver away from this big guy on his left.
So the
Picks
door opened behind Thaddeus. Pushed open the door, so the door's
Yep.
like wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. And you see Silas say, you can hear him say Silas Napane. And he just listens.
And Shelley keeps her shotgun trained on the guy the other one that she saw first. That's not Silas.
Thaddeus is gonna look at the big guy.
Yeah,
So,
the big guy.
Yeah,
you come here often?
He just smiled. You can even see the white of his teeth in the very dim light.
So my friend, did he come in here? Have you seen him?
He says, "Man, I don't know what you're talking about."
Oh. So my friend, you did not see my friend come in here.
He said, "You're the only white-skinned man here."
Well, perhaps it'd be beneficial that I am, because it's really just could be a big misunderstanding.
Silas says, no, sir, I'm sorry, it has not yet arrived. I will tell you as soon as it gets here." And he hangs up the phone. And he says, a troublesome customer.
Hopefully you're less troublesome than I am.
He says, Thaddeus, why don't you come in and we will talk about your friend that you're looking for. Maybe I can help you.
But that's why I'm standing here. I'm already in.
Come, I will make you some tea.
He's not. I don't need any tea. But feel free to discuss my friend who has came in here.
Yeah, you see Frank is, Natalya, you can tell Frank is like very nervous and not like scared nervous, but like he's not sure what to do at this point. You can see his finger keeps like itching around the shotgun trigger, but he's not doing anything.
So where did my friend go? Is he back there? And he's gonna point the shotgun towards the back.
He said he may have wandered into the shop. I don't know. People have been in and out of the shop all evening.
You've been in the shop all evening, you said?
Yes, I sometimes stay late. Late business.
I see.
One night a month, typically, I stay and take late orders and make deliveries.
Well, would you mind if I have a look to see if my friend's back there?
Not at all,
He might
not
be
at all.
scared.
Please, I'll show you. And he turns and starts to walk that way. I need the two of you outside to attempt stealth checks, and I'll give you 2 bonus dice because it's so dark.
Okay. Oh, great. We're out here.
You guys are not sneaky at all.
Yeah, Shelley is like doing this pantomime and
Natalya's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
what?
it's like, what are you talking about?
In fact, you hear this guy here. He says something in some African dialect to Silas. And Silas just says something back in what's obviously the same dialect. And Thaddeus, as you step forward, you see that there is another guy standing right here. Behind that case. He's kind of crouched down behind the case. When you walk by, he swipes at you with a machete.
All
That
right.
would be machetes, huh?
When he makes a swipe, Shelley's probably just going to fire at him through the window.
Okay, so let's yeah. So, Shelley, make a spot hidden check. I'll give you. You've been watching, so I'll give you bonus. No.
Nope.
Ooh, unless you want to spend 2 luck.
Oh, do it.
Okay. And then I get to roll again? Is that what happens?
No, it goes down to 35, which means you pass.
Yeah, you
Oh, okay.
spend,
Spend 2
so
luck.
reduce your
Yeah,
luck permanently by 2, and now you made it, because we'll say you
Okay.
rolled a 35. So you barely notice in time. So you see his arm go up with the machete, and you can let loose. So let's see what range. Oh, that's very close. So you get, but it is dark. So
Right.
the bonus die and the penalty die will cancel each other out. So it's
Okay.
a straight up roll.
Just the shotgun on the top.
Yep,
Okay.
just do the shotgun. Oh, I'm sorry. I gave you a sawed off. That's not what I meant. Here, that's
okay.
good. That's good. We'll let me switch that, and then you can do it again. I did not mean to give you a sawed off shotgun.
I think Natalya might just drop the gun, because...
Yeah, you see Shelley suddenly
Okay.
freak out and
you
fire.
can go again.
Okay, so the same button, or was there a different?
I switched it out, so now there's a 12 gauge shotgun, not a sawed off.
Oh, gotcha.
Ooh, very nice. So that is a hard success. So you hit, and the damage at 10 yards is 15. So you blow this guy away. You can see, so Thaddeus, you're right there. You turn to look at him, and you see the machete coming up, and you kind of instinctively raise your shotgun towards him. And as you do, though, you see his head just separate from his body in a mass of blood and brains. Make a sanity check for me, please. Actually, both of you need to.
Yeah.
Yep,
Nice.
that is a rock.
Yeah, Thaddeus is like, cool.
First time, yeah.
Yay!
All right, Shelley's okay. Natalya, you can make it with a bonus die, because you have it's a little harder for you to see what just happened from over there. So I'll give you a bonus die. Nice. You are. If anything, I would say an extreme means you kind of saw what happened, and if anything, it might have steeled your nerves a little bit. Like your adrenaline takes over.
Okay.
So
Shelley will point and say, "There's another one with a machete. The big."
yeah, and so now it's initiatives. So you guys have you guys have shotguns, and as long as you're going to use your firearm, you can use your initiative firearm.
That is a very interesting
Yeah.
number.
On this, I have.
It's to ensure there are no ties.
What is it? I just have like. My firearms is crap. Like,
Oh shoot.
I think I have like a 15. I think Natalya, just after that, especially like it's stealing your nerves, she's gonna be like, nah, not gonna use the shotgun. She's much better at
Oh
punching
gosh,
people.
I haven't cleared this since the... That's so funny. Since the last time. That's how long it's been since we've had something like this happen. Natalya.
Oh, she ain't gonna use that shotgun.
Okay. So, I'm going to order them in descending order. Shelley, you still have one shell in the other chamber. If you want to do something.
Gosh. Honestly, I can't see her just taking another shot. I think she would shout instead, "Throw down your weapons!" in her very intimidating voice.
Okay.
Throw down your weapons!
You can try an intimidate check, and I'll give you a bonus die
I'm sure
with
she's
that.
really good at this.
You have a shotgun, I'll give you a bonus die. Oh, look at that.
Right.
Okay.
Damn.
Shotguns are intimidating. Especially
Okay.
when your friend's brains are everywhere.
All right, so that's what you do. Is there anything else you want to do that's small, or is that? It seems like that's probably what you just took a shot and now you're yelling at.
Yeah, she's aiming it at the big guy, but
Mhm.
she's choosing not to take another shot.
Okay, Thaddeus, what are you doing?
Well, since Thaddeus almost just died via a machete, he's gonna level his shotgun at Silas now. And hearing his esteemed friend yell at the other guy, and then he's gonna level the shotgun, and he's not gonna shoot. He's gonna try to convince Silas now to take him to his detective friend.
Okay, give me an intimidate check. I'll give you a bonus die. Nice.
Oh.
Okay. Silas's turn. He just kind of stops and puts his hand up and smiles. And he says, "There's no need for that." And he kind of looks down at the floor of the headless corpse, and his smile never wavers. And he says, "We should talk."
Yeah, I think we
and
hit
the
on
other
this
other
talking.
guy, you can see he also is in the act of raising a machete after the shot, but he's looking at Shelley, and he also kind of stops in his tracks for a moment there and seems unsure what to do. Natalya?
Natalya will step into the doorway, still at least holding the shotgun for now.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll make her way inside, kind of sidestepping towards the back of the wall,
Oh, I forgot to do Frank.
aiming.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of aiming at this guy. Just waiting.
Yep.
So,
Okay, and Frank, yeah, he kind of comes in too, and he's got the shotgun leveled. So, yes, they basically stop. And Silas says, "Put down the weapon." And the man kind of looks at him quizzically for a moment, but puts his machete down on the counter next to him.
Now, let's talk about my friend. What is he in here?
He says he may have gone downstairs.
Ah. And the other people in here, they downstairs as well, I assume.
Yes, we have something of a private club here.
I see. Well, I suppose you wouldn't mind getting down on your knees for me then?
If there's more of them, we should be aware they might... Where's the basement?
He points down and smiles.
I suppose the entrance
he's
to the
got
basement...
several missing teeth. It's very hard to see him in here, by the way, without any light.
I suppose the entrance to the basement is in the back of the building.
He says, you would have some difficulty finding it by design.
Well then, perhaps you should show me where the basement is.
Make him walk in front of you.
Yes. And he's gonna kind
He
of
says,
nudge him with the
so
barrel of the
which
shock.
is it to be? Am I to kneel before you, or show you the basement?
Well, since now that the basement is a hidden basement, I think you are pretty safe to assume that you could show me where the basement is.
Very well. He stands up and makes his way over here. And he says, would you be so kind as to help me with the rug?
Well, why don't you get your friend to do it?
Yes, it's just a rug. I assume that you go pull it yourself.
He says, an excellent suggestion. And he says something in African dialect. And the guy makes his way over. And
Did you put the machete on the ground?
the machete is right there next to you.
Oh, she's... Just gonna make sure it's behind.
It is. It is a particular... Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's a strange design. It is not... You know, it's got a wider blade than you normally see, and it's wider and a little shorter, and it has almost a hook at the end.
At this point, it doesn't do much good for Shelley to be outside, so she's going to come in.
Frank is right up next to Thaddeus now.
Shelley's actually going to make her way around so that if she keeps her shotgun trained on these guys, she's not going to hit any of her friends.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They pull the curtain, and they pull it back, and there is a trapdoor under the sorry, not the curtain, the rug. There's a trapdoor under the rug.
Is there a latch or anything?
Mm.
He's looking at silent. Why don't you go ahead and
You
open the
need to
trapdoor?
shine a light if you're gonna see anything. Actually, it's just too hard to see anything.
Well, Shelley says, keep your eye on them. And she'll, fiddle around for her flashlight.
Okay.
Natalya will kind of make her way over to...
And when you turn your
Shelley.
flashlight on, you can see the splatters of blood and gore along the wall there and on the counter. And and you see the trapdoor, which is about a little over a yard square. And I hate to say it, it's 1:20. This is a good place to stop.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't even looking at the clock. Wow.
Yeah.
You drew us in.
We will pick it up next time.
Shelley's first kill.
Well, it is good to know that we are not cold-blooded murderers since the matches.
We're warm-blooded.
Yeah. Well, it's not murder. It's self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we were breaking in and nothing was going on, then it quickly turns to murder.
That's not the way I remember it.
Man, fuck. Just like, yeah, these are definitely the guys. These are definitely the guys. This is not good.
Are you ever gonna share that knowledge with Thaddeus that this is the same machete? Because I don't think he's got a good look at it.
She might. She took it. It's in her hands. She's probably
This
gonna
is
take
the same kind of
You
machete saw
you picked it
at
up,
the-
Natalya?
Yeah, she picked it up. She
Okay.
took it.
Yeah.
Oh, bad juju now.
We gotta give
Yeah, this
you
is all bad
gotta
juju.
give you a heavy knife then.
Oh, she's never gonna use it. It's all gonna be
Oh,
punching.
You don't.
That's true.
Don't know that for sure.
That's true. I could just stab a bitch. It's good. I don't want to
If
use
this
a
was-
shotgun.
If this was D&D, she probably would have shot the other guy, but I can't see it.
It's not. Yes, this is
Regular
That's the
people
first
going on a
person
killing
she's ever shot, I'm sure. And yeah.
Get on the ground!
You better get on
Surprisingly
that girl.
intimidating.
Yeah, it actually worked. You
Mm-hmm.
your voice to yourself sounded horribly tiny and afraid and cracking, but you don't know what it sounded like to him. And and you had the shotgun. So
To say it sounded an awfully lot like a shotgun.
Yeah, that's the part that he's remembering, and the brain's everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think I'll
next time.